There is an epidemic of suicide in Canada's north, particularly Nunavut, which has the highest rate in Canada. In 2004, it was 11 times the national average. We brought this heartbreaking need to you, and you responded with incredible generosity. And I have some amazing news for you today. You are not going to believe this. Our partner on the ground in the north, Bill Prankard, joins me now by Skype for an update. Bill, what is happening with suicide in the north?
Daryl, welcome. I mean, thank you for welcoming me. Your partners need to know this. Every viewer of Huntley Street needs to know this. Every supporter of Crossroads needs to know this. It was just, well over a year ago that Stephen and I were on, and you raised a lot of money in one day. And that did a number of things. But there's two things I want to really report on because, people hear the bad news from the north. And as long as I've been going north, the statistics of suicide have been going up amongst young people. And it was overwhelming. And it was in 2014 when an 11-year-old boy committed suicide in Cape Dorset. I said to Stephen and Becky, you've got to help me. We've got to do something. We got to do more. And Arctic Hope was born in 2014. Now, Cheryl, you ready for this? The National Post last week, this is what they posted. This is what they reported. Since 2014, the suicide rate has been declining in Nunavut. Did you get that? Did you hear that? We launched Arctic Hope Project in 2014. Since 2014, the suicide rate has been declining. And I can't remember ever hearing that reports. And that's a secular media reporting this. And we understand the government's doing a lot, but the government's been doing a lot for a long time. And they very candidly have said what we're doing isn't working. And so I don't think that's a coincidence. But then last year, you folks, with your generosity, sent Stephen up to a community named Pangnirtung, that's north of Iqaluit, and he went up there to be part of a pastor's leaders conference. They had him speak on Saturday night, and in a community of about 1,400 people, close to 100 young people were there. And it seemed like every one of them was touched by God, encountered by God, and got hope as they listened to Stephen's testimony and story. And since that time, since he was there last spring, you guys helped send us up to do a Nana project for the single moms, a kids ministry project for all the kids, and another Arctic Hope project for the young adults to raise up leaders. The MLA, the Member of Parliament from Nunavut for that region, welcomed Stephen along with the mayor and just said, thank you so much for coming. And they said, MLA said, what we like about you is you don't ask us for money, but you come and help, and it's working. And because we constantly tell them we are privately funded. What that means is, Crossroads ministries like you and people across the nation are funding us. And so, so the CBC reported that last year in Pangnirtung, the entire year, there was not one suicide. Now, this is, that might not seem big to a lot of people, but I can't remember hearing about a community with no suicides, for an entire year. It's been a long time in that community, and they've had a lot of suicides there. I'm very close to some of the people that have lost their young people. And so no coincidence that since 2014 it's been declining, and no coincidence that in Pangnirtung, where we've been putting a lot of our effort, and you've been sending Stephen and teams, suicide has been stopped. Now, just quickly, you might remember that Stephen had a dream when we were in Alberta 2 or 3 years ago, and he saw in the dream the headlines in the National Post, suicide has been stopped in the north, and I think it was a Globe and Mail said, God is big and alive in Canada and in the north or something. Well, for these same media to be absolutely reporting this, so we're not stopping. This year, we're doing the most aggressive outreach that ever I think has ever happened in the Arctic. Stephen and a team will be going to every Arctic community in Nunavut that has a high school. He'll be sharing in the schools his testimony and ministering there. And what we are seeing in Nangnatung, or Pangnatung, I should say, we're believing we're going to see everywhere.
Wow, Bill, we are out of time. I am so sorry. But
okay,
we are so excited. Thank you so much for all you are doing in the North. We are going to keep supporting you and cheering you guys on and praying for you and keep bringing us these amazing updates.
Well, it's working. It's absolutely working. Pray for Stephen as he goes. He's going this month.
We will. God bless you, Bill.
Bless you.
Bye-bye. And we wanted to be accountable to you and bring this because I know so many of you responded so generously. You gave out of your heart. You've been praying. I know that this touched your heart. You phoned us weeping, saying you didn't want to see another generation die in the North. And this is thanks to your faithfulness and to the faithfulness of God. Celebrate with us today. And that's why we're asking you to come alongside of us, because when we bond together with God working with us, this is the kind of transformation that can happen. So will you join us right now to do more in the North, to do more through 100 Huntley Street, through our prayer lines, through all the ministries that come out of this building? You can be a part of it. That number, 1-800-265-3100, or you can give online at crossroads.ca. We'll be right back.